Hey, hi, hello. Today we are starting my first week of March reading vlog. Even though today technically is February 27th, I'm starting this video on Saturday because I have some time right now and I'm about to start a new audiobook which will count towards my March TBR. So I figured why not start this video right now. My physical book from last month, which I'm carrying into this month, is Red Sister. I still have not finished this dang thing, but I'm really enjoying it and I'm really loving it, and I won't talk right this moment about what it's about, but I might talk later about it later in this video. If you're really curious though at this moment, I did talk about it last week, so you can go check that out if you would like. I just finished my audiobook this morning, which was The Queen of the Tearling, and it actually miraculously got me a 5th bingo for the month of February. I will be talking about that in my wrap up, which actually came out last Friday for you all, and you can see whether or not I got enough bingos to cover all the books I bought, and spoiler alert, I did. Now I am going to be picking out a new audiobook that I can listen to over the course of the next few days while I'm waiting to start some other stuff. So I know that on Wednesday I'm going to be starting one of my buddy reads, and then on Saturday I'm going to be starting my book club book, which are both audiobooks, so I'm not worried so much about my physical book. I do plan on reading Shadow and Bone this week, which is only 9 hours, so that gives me enough time to start something else that's a little bit longer and read that for a few days over the next few days, and then start Shadow and Bone later in the week. So I need to kind of look at my board and figure out what I'm going to be reading, and I thought I always enjoy watching people kind of figure that stuff out, so I figured this could be a nice conversation for us. If you hear that, it's my computer trying to render out last week's vlog. It's an old computer trying to do many things, and it does them and it almost never crashes, so I can't bring myself to kill it. But let's look at the board really quickly. If you don't know what this is, every single month I play a TBR game to help me pick out my books that I'm going to be reading for the month. If you want to watch that video, I will have it linked somewhere. I love it. I'm having a really good time. It's really fun. Looking at this board, things that I could start right now and not have any issues with. I could start Burn Our Bodies Down because the audiobook did come from my library recently. It's only like 10 hours long too, so it would probably be a really good choice because in theory I could finish it by tomorrow night. I could also start Air of Fire, which I've been really wanting to get back into, but it is a little bit longer. I can't remember how long it is, but it is a little bit longer, so it might leave me kind of strapped to try and finish Shadow and Bone this week on top of the other stuff that I'm reading. I could also pick up Gemina, but I think that one is like 14 hours, so again, might just make things difficult, but I know I love Gemina and I know it's a reread, so I wouldn't necessarily mind marathoning it or putting it down if I needed to. So those are the ones you can see. Let's briefly glance at the other ones that I have in my TBR that you can't see from this board. So I have a few books that I've been wanting to read for some secret TBR videos. I have one of them checked out to me from my library, but I could check out other ones if I wanted to, but I already have like 6 books checked out from my library, audiobooks from my library, so I think I need to read one of those instead. I also have The Invasion of the Tearling, which I really want to read, and I just finished The Queen of the Tearling today, so it would be nice to go straight into the sequel. Speaking of, I could also pick up Memories of Babel, which would be really good. It's only like 14 hours, so it wouldn't take me super long to read, and I think I'm going to get through it pretty dang quickly. I could also pick up Queen of the Conquered, which I got the audiobook from my library, so that would be a good choice because I'm not actually sure I'm going to be interested in that book, so picking up the audiobook would let me know whether or not I'm going to DNF it, so that would be a good thought. I also have Sometimes I Lie and A Head Full of Ghosts, but both of those are for secret TBRs, and I don't know if I want to read for my secret TBR yet. They're secret TBRs, but I shared them in my TBR video, so it's fine if you know them right now. I'm not going to tell you any other TBR books for that video though. So what am I going to pick? What am I going to pick? What am I in the mood for is a good question. I think Burn Our Bodies Down would be a good choice. It's pretty short, and I think I'm definitely in the mood for some like contemporary YA horror thriller kind of stuff. I definitely wouldn't mind being a little creeped out, which means I could also pick Sometimes I Lie or A Head Full of Ghosts, but both of those are more dull, and I think I am kind of in the mood for a YA. Now, of course, I could just go straight into Shadow and Bone, but I don't think I want to do that just this moment. I think I want to wait on that one And I think I'm gonna wait on Heir of Fire and do that the second week after I finish The Lies of Locke Lamora. I'm gonna pick up and start the first chapter of Queen of the Conquered. I know, I just flipped you, but whatever. I'm going to try chapter 1 because if I hate it, I know right now that I'm not gonna finish it and I can just unhaul my copy and return the library book, and it's fine because more people are waiting on that. If I like chapter 1, I'm going to pause it though, and I'm going to start on Burn Our Bodies Down. I'm gonna try a chapter of that. If I enjoy that, I'm gonna continue with Burn Our Bodies Down, and then I'll move into Shadow and Bone, and then I'll move into Defy the Stars, and then I'll move into Lies of Locke Lamora, and then I'll move into Heir of Fire, and then I'll move into Queen of the Conquered, and then I'll move into Queen of Shadows if I can, and then I'll move into Gemina. Wow. It sounds ridiculous when I list all of the books I plan on reading in a month, like back to back like that. And honestly, that's probably only the first 2 weeks of what I'm planning on reading. Dang, I have a problem. Okay, that was quick. So I read the prologue and then I read like 10 minutes into chapter 1 because chapter 1 was 40 minutes long. And I knew pretty immediately that this wasn't the writing style for me, that I would grow to slowly hate the book because of how the writing was. It was very choppy and very blunt and very to the point. When that happens, I feel like it's like, and this, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And I don't like that. One thing that I'm going to be working on and training myself to do is stuff like that I can know about before I buy books. I didn't need to buy this book to know that I didn't enjoy it. You know, on Amazon, even though I'm working super hard not to support them, I can still go and sample the first chapter or so of a book. And because of that, I could have known already that I wouldn't have loved this book and then wouldn't have bought it. But I did get it for a really good price, and now I'm going to be able to give it to someone for free, and that's awesome, and I'm really glad that I can do that. But I have returned the audiobook to my library, and I will not be continuing on with the book. I have decided I've changed up how I do things. I no longer put books on my DNF shelf if I haven't finished chapter 1 or if I've only read chapter 1, because I just feel like that's more of me sampling a book. And so maybe I should make a sampled shelf, but I don't want to deal with trying to remember every single book I've ever sampled, because I used to sample a lot more than I do now. I'm gonna go test out Burn Our Bodies Down now and see how I feel about it. Happy Sunday! So yesterday I did start Burn Our Bodies Down, and I was listening to it for a while I was working on some art stuff that I've been wanting to get done recently. And now I'm on my walk, which is why you're getting this jittery footage. Okay, we had to stop really quickly because someone got on the road right next to me and was walking with me for a long while, which is uncomfortable and awkward, and why would you do that? We were far enough away, we were safe, but like, he could have heard me recording, you know, and that's just kind of funky. Anyways, I haven't recorded and walked at the same time in a while. It's always fun because I get super out of breath. Oh my God, another person's coming at me. I just want to talk about this book, Burn Our Bodies Down. Okay, we're gonna pause here for a minute so that I can talk about Burn Our Bodies Down. Nature's landing on me. So I'm at chapter 24, which is about 80% through. Yeah, I read a lot last night. I was working on a few different projects that, I don't know, I just have recently really gotten back into making art, which is great. It feels so good. After being away for such a long time, I forgot about how much time you spend creating when you do it. So I'm listening to Burn Our Bodies Down, which is the story about this young girl who grows up with just a single mom, and she doesn't have any connection to her family before that. She doesn't know anything about them. In fact, her mom has been like adamant that she's not allowed to ask or investigate or anything like that. And then one day she finds a clue as to who her grandma is, and she starts to unravel the mysteries of her family. Thought this was going to be a lot weirder, and I thought this was going to be a lot more thrilling, but it's honestly like, it doesn't have a good, oh, there's a hawk over there, it's really beautiful. Anyways, it doesn't feel like the book knows what it was trying to be. Like, it's kind of a contemporary, it's kind of a thriller, it's kind of a weird YA speculative fiction. It's just not any of those at all, but yet somewhat of each of them. Like, I'm not grossed out, I'm not weirded out, I'm not creeped out. I'm honestly just kind of bored. And I would have DNF'd the book earlier, but it's so short, and I really wanted to know if my thoughts as to her family were what's actually going on. I'll tell you what I was thinking. So she has the same face as her mom, but younger, and then she finds someone else with a similar face, right? It's not spoilers, it's in the summary. I was assuming clones. I don't know if I'm right or wrong at the point that I'm at, to be honest, but I'm curious still to figure that out. I have like less than an hour left in the book and I'm going to finish it, and honestly it's gonna be a 2 or 2.5 star when I finish. I really liked Wilder Girls. I really liked it a lot, so I was kind of hoping this would be something similar with like Wilder Girls has a good mix of like a contemporary story with like thrilling aspects with like weird creepy elements that like unnerve you, and this book obviously is trying to do that but just didn't quite hit the mark with it. We'll see. I would definitely continue to read more Rary Power books in the future. She has a few on Goodreads that are coming out over the next few years, and I'll definitely keep my eye on them and check them out, but this one was a bust for me. My first March book is almost done, and it's not even March yet technically, but I'm counting it. I'm back from my walk. I finished that awful book. I rated it 2 stars. I'll remember this now. First book done for the month. That's exciting. That book was bad. I don't really have anything else to say on it, to be honest. I think the ending was really illogical and didn't totally make sense. And I didn't necessarily mind the reason why all the people had the same face. I didn't like what happened because of that. And I can't say anything else really. I mean, there's this crime that happens at the end of the book, and I felt like it didn't make total sense to me. I'm trying to be vague. Anyways, 2 stars. I don't know what I'm gonna pick up next, to be honest. I need to meal prep and do my setup for my March journal and do some other stuff today. So like I need to have an audiobook because I like to have an audiobook while I do that kind of stuff, but I just don't know what I'm gonna pick. So I'm leaning towards Sometimes I Lie because it's short and I could read that and then do Shadow and Bone. Okay, so I started Sometimes I Lie, which is for a secret TBR, so that's all I'm gonna say for the rest of this month about it, is that I have officially started it. You will not hear about it again until that video comes out, which I'm looking at my calendar, and honestly it's probably not gonna come out until like April, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So I've started that, but I've been doing some thinking. I'm really enjoying Red Sister, like a lot. I think it's gonna be a 4.5 star read when I'm done with it, but I don't have any motivation to pick it up. Like every single time I pick it up, I read about 20 pages and then I'm like, okay, cool, that's enough, I'm done. And then I set it back down if I let myself go a few days without reading it again. And I don't know what that's all about because that's not the type of reader I am. I usually read about 50 pages a day, and I've noticed that over the past week and a half, I have been doing barely any physical reading, and I think it's because I'm reading Red Sister, and that's weird. It's so unfortunate. I think it's because the book is quite slow, so even though I'm enjoying it and I like what's going on in the book, it's slow, and so I'm just like, okay, come on, like let's get to something already. I've been doing some thinking. I don't want to put Red Sister on pause again because this is actually the second time I've attempted to read this book, and the first time I tried the audiobook and I really didn't like the narrator. The second time is right now, we're discussing it. I found out though that there are 2 different narrators online for this book. So I'm going to try to find copies of both of them and listen to like samples of them to figure out which one I listened to before, because I don't know. And then I'm gonna try the other one. And if I like it, I'm gonna get it and I'm going to finish Red Sister by listening to it. Now, if I do manage to do that, that means that I need a physical book. So I think I'm gonna swap some things around. I think instead of having Red Sister as my physical book for this week and reading with an audiobook, Shadow and Bone, that I might pick up the physical copy. I might not stick with it for the entirety of the book, but the first time I read this, I read the physical copy and I read it in one day, and I really loved it. I think I rated this 4 or 4.5. I don't remember actually. The later two books I hated, and I'm not continuing on with them, but if you don't know, I am doing like a Bardugo-a-thon this month, and so this week's vlog, the Bardugo book that I'm reading, I'm going to be reading one every single week, is Shadow and Bone, and this will be my first reread with it. And all of this is prepping for Rule of Wolves / when the TV show comes out. I think I'm gonna sit down today and start reading this physically and see how far I can get, because when you look at it, the words are pretty big on the page and they don't take up that much room, and I think I could get through a good chunk of this honestly today, as long as I don't get into a weird mood, which if I'm in a weird mood, then I know it's not Red Sister. So maybe I should start with physically reading this, and if I can get into it, then I know Red Sister is just putting me into a funk. Hi, it's Wednesday. Normally I don't talk to you on Wednesdays, but it's been a few days since I've spoken to you. There are some exciting life changes happening currently, and I don't want to talk about them right now in case anything falls through, but I would assume that if you're really curious, you can check back in next week and I should be able to talk about them then. That means that I am extremely busy on my lunch break, after work. I've basically been doing stuff until I fall asleep at night, so I haven't been doing reading. I haven't been talking to the camera. It's just been kind of a busy yet exciting time. The other day before all this kind of started, I did finish a book, which was part of my secret TBR, which means that I could remove the card gray cover. So I wanted to wait and flip these two with you all so that we could see them together for the first time, because I think that's way more exciting. First one is randomizer. So that basically means that I can do a few things. What I'll probably end up doing for this one is I will get a random number generator up and I will let it pick either from all of my owned books or all of my TBR on Goodreads, like everything there. The next one is, this title contains letter M. Cool. Nothing's speaking to me off the top of my head. I know I have plenty of books for this month that I want to read, but honestly, I'm having a hard time remembering any of them right now because I haven't looked at that list since like February something, and it's like March something right now, and I'm really good at telling you guys updates. But it's already looking like I could get a bingo if I just keep trying. I did actually start a few books, some audiobooks the past few days. So I told you all I started Shadow and Bone, which I decided to start the physical book for. And I'm actually going to be talking about all of my Leigh Bardugo books in a video that'll be coming out in April. I decided to put them all together for you because I'm having a lot of fun rereading them, and I thought that having a video of just Leigh Bardugo would be more fun than me putting like a lot of stuff about her in every single one of my vlogs. I also have started another book for Secret TBR, which you don't know anything about at all. This is a different Secret TBR. I have a few coming out somewhat soon. And then I also started another book. I started Defy the Stars, which is actually for this slot. And I'm like 5 chapters in, and I'm absolutely hating it. I really am. But I'm buddy reading it with a friend. So we're gonna discuss once she starts whether or not we want to continue, or whether or not maybe I should just give it a little bit longer into the book because I'm really not that far into it. Oh, you know what? This isn't it. I wanted to thank each and every one of you because I passed 100 subscribers this week. I was really freaking out about it because recently, I think it was like the last week of February, I hit 98 and I was like, oh my god, I'm so close. I hope I hit it during a vlog. And I did technically hit it during a vlog, but not during a period when I was filming, because it was during the few days where I haven't been talking to you all. I think it was like Monday. Really grateful for each and every one of you, and it means the world to me, and I'm honestly flabbergasted and amazed that 100 of you have subscribed to watching my face twice a week, every week. It's just crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy balls. I really appreciate that. from the bottom of my heart. I really wanted to do something at 100 subscribers, but unfortunately, right now is not the time for me to do something. So maybe I'd love to do some type of live sprint or live reading thing if I can over the next few weeks. I don't know if that's something you'd be interested in. Let me know down below. Even if it's just like a few people, like 5 of us, that would be absolutely ridiculous. Like 5 people want to read with me. If not, then maybe at 200 or 500 or some other big number. I don't know. What's a good number to do something big at? Like a giveaway or something. I don't know. Something crazy, right? Hey, this light's really dark for some reason in my room. I think that's kind of odd. So I have reached the end of my week, which means that this vlog is pretty much over, but I am just about to go on a walk, so I thought I would take you all with me. I'm gonna start out with a clip that I took from this morning's walk because it was just absolutely gorgeous, and then I will show you the rest of this evening's walk, and then when I come back, we're gonna talk about the book that I finished on my walk because I'm walking until I finish Defy the Stars. I'm back. It's actually been quite a few hours because I'm not gonna lie, I got back, I finished the book here, like I had 5 minutes while I was finishing up here, and then I kind of just forgot to message you. Like that book literally went into my brain and then out of my brain as soon as I finished it. The entire time I was hating it, varying degrees of hatred for it, but it just escaped and I didn't think about it anymore. So I'm gonna quickly like word vomit my thoughts to you all, and then we're gonna TBR bingo it up, and then I'm gonna say goodbye to you for this week. So I kind of thought a few months ago, maybe about a year ago, I remember having Defy the Stars on my TBR. Once I started reading it, this all like came back to me, of course. And then I remember watching some videos on YouTube where some people talked about some of the things that happened in the book, and I was like, those weren't really for me, so I'm gonna remove it from my want to reads list. But after reading Illuminae with a friend, we both agreed that we wanted to read more books about AI, and so we decided to read this one because she owned it and my library had it, right? So that's how I made it to this point. Now, I will say first off that both of us are disliking the book, so it's not just me. But I also think that we are in the vast minority, which confuses me so much. Not only did these characters fall flat and the plot was just kind of meh, and I just couldn't stand the writing style or the narrators, but also it just wasn't anything. Like, I didn't believe the romance, because the main part of the book, in case you don't know, because I have not said yet, Defy the Stars is about this girl named Naomi, who is like this soldier. Let me back up a little bit farther. So Earth, it's like 200 years in the future. Earth has colonized a few different planets and they are starting to rebel against Earth because Earth thinks that it is the like the mother planet and that everyone should basically pay dues to it, right? Naomi lives on this one planet that really wants its freedom because it's found that it is very different than how Earth teaches its ways. They are very religious. They are very anti-technology. You get the gist right here, right? So these people have sent their children off to fight, and Naomi is one of them, and while she's gone, she runs into this old dilapidated spaceship and finds this old abandoned robot. He basically agrees to help her destroy something so that the war will be over. I'm gonna leave it at that, okay? So the two of them work together and just based on the fact that it's a romance, you know that they're gonna fall in love with each other. I just felt zero chemistry between the two of them the entire time. Even at the very end when they were like confessing their love to each other because they thought like something big was going to happen, I was like, I don't believe this. I don't believe anything that they feel for each other, because the robot android dude on one hand just felt unemotional. Like the narrator, the author kept trying to tell me that he had emotions and he was feeling them, but I didn't feel that. I didn't get a vibe from him that he actually felt anything at all. In fact, he felt robotic to me, which I guess was the point, but it didn't like make me believe his romance then. I also read this book because I wanted a girl falling in love with an AI, and I guess technically I got that, but I wanted Aiden from Illuminae. Not necessarily like psychotic psychopath Aiden, but like bodiless voice in the ceiling kind of AI, you know, Thunderhead, Aiden. Like I wanted a creature, a being, a consciousness that is all things, godlike basically, and runs certain things and does what he needs to do, and not an android or a robot or a cyborg, depending on how you want to argue Abel's being. I think he's an android. No, I think he is a cyborg technically, but maybe not. Maybe you'll disagree with me. Anyways, I really disliked the characters. I think, like I said, they fell flat. I will say one thing I enjoyed about the book before we move on. I think the author did a good job with the world building and establishing the realistically what I think would happen if Earth colonized all these different planets. We would develop personalities among them. I do think that it got a little ridiculous to the point of like, it reminded me a little bit of Divergent, where like you are so extreme into a category. Like if you live on this planet, you have to love technology. And if you live on this planet, you have to love religion. Like it definitely was jarring to have that, and it wasn't totally believable. You're gonna have a mix of people no matter who you shove together. That part was a little unrealistic, but the building of the worlds and how they respond to Earth and how Earth responds to them, like the politics of everything, I think was very believable, and I think she did a good job with that. But it wasn't enough for me to enjoy the book, so I ended up rating it 2 out of 5 stars. And I will not continue on. It didn't have a cliffhanger at the end. I thought the ending kind of sucked, honestly, especially for the first book in a series. Like it didn't make me want to continue on reading the books at all. I was using Defy the Stars for the prompt does not contain O, because Defy the Stars doesn't have an O in it. I have to double check every time because I don't trust myself with spelling. Oh, we get to flip these two to figure out 2 more prompts. And look, I am already on track to get a bingo. I'll have to look up what these 2 books are and see if they're actually realistic things that I'm gonna read this month. First one is 5-word title. That's fun. I'm gonna have to do some math and count some books and figure out what has what number of words in the title. This one is Friend Pick. So I got this one last month, I think, and I ended up just kind of ignoring it until the end of the month and then not using it. So this is where I'm at this week. I know I didn't talk to you guys a ton. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until next time, I don't remember how my outro goes, but I'll talk to you in the comments. Bye.